They therefore stressed the need for an act and constitution amendments to ensure restructuring and decentralization of governmental powers and functions.
Borrowing for frivolous items such as funding of the Nigerian Television Authority is scandalous. Money should only be borrowed for productive purposes, as Nigeria's current debt over 36 trillion naira is becoming clearly unsustainable. Called on the chairman and members of the commission, the need for an appropriate legal framework to involve the states in policing has become even more urgent by the day. To this end, we reiterate our earlier call for the National Assembly to expedite action in passing the Electoral Act and constitutional amendment to ensure the structuring and decentralization of governmental powers and functions. The meeting extolled the virtues
Elder statesman and Ijaw leader, Chief Edwin Clark, has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to call for a national dialogue to discuss the security challenges facing the country. He made the call while briefing newsmen in Abuja on the state of the nation. Chief Edwin Clark says it is unacceptable for the federal government to attempt an override of state governments on the issue of open grazing. In his reaction to this development, Clark called on President Buhari to regard himself as the president of Nigeria and not as a leader of the Fulani tribe. While noting that the people of the Niger Delta have watched with patience the reckless and irresponsible utterances of some groups who have over the years threatened other Nigerians over grazing routes, the elder statesman warned the federal government and the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, MACBAN, against conduct and utterances capable of escalating the crisis in the country.
And a group of people, irresponsible men, threatening us and the president and his agents, particularly Joe Garba and others, they kept quiet as if they don't know what is going on. But when IPOC makes statement, we jump on it. We can no longer continue in a country where some people regard themselves as superior to the others. Mr. President should realize that in southern Nigeria, particularly the South or the Niger Delta, provide the resources for the survival of this country. And any attempt by anybody to deride us will be resisted. But for him to say that there are grazing routes in Nigeria and no one has right to stop those grazing, and then they are building, they will destroy those things and allow the grazing. In what country? This country does not belong to Mr. President, anybody alone. It belongs to all of us with equal rights. As I said, enough is enough. Let's live in a peaceful, united Nigeria where everybody is citizen with equal rights.
Perceived feelings of marginalization in the southeast will be largely assuaged if the region produces Nigeria's next president. This is the view of the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige. He, however, said it is sad that there's no provision in the 1999 Constitution stating that the next election is to be zoned to the south. Speaking further, Ngige said this is why he believes that the 1995 Constitution, produced by the late General Sani Abacha's administration, would have been better suited for Nigeria's current situation.
The people in the area have perceived that they are marginalized, that they are unwanted. Whether it was done by propaganda and brainwashing or not is now immaterial. So I agree with that proposal. Unfortunately, the Nigerian Constitution doesn't have it. That is where I quarrel with those who authored the 1999 Constitution. I still believe today, tomorrow, that the Abacha Constitution, 1995, that espoused rotational presidency into the 6 zones in Nigeria with single 5-year tenure in order to heal all the wounds of the war, civil war, and the wound of June 12. That Constitution will have been the best constitution for Nigeria to use for the next 30 years. By which the 6 zones will have tested the presidency 6 times 5, 30.
Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi says his people have no land to give up for cattle ranching. Governor Umahi, who stated this during an interview, said each state in the southeast already has laws banning open grazing, and as such, it is way off as he is a servant to his people. Speaking further, Umahi noted that his people have said they have no land for ranching.
Look, this is not about governors, it's about the people. So whatever position the people, take, in this regard, that's what will happen. So there is no land that is not owned by individuals, or corporate bodies. So this is beyond governance, and that is the truth. So when people call governors, they're making a very grievous mistake. Even if I say, okay, as governor of Southeast, I want, the people from this village, I want you to, allow me to donate this land. The question is, will they allow it? They have said no. They have no land for ranching. I will recommend administrative restructuring, which is it, making the subnational government, to strengthening it, devolving powers and responsibilities to subnational government.
Earlier in the year, Southern governors banned open grazing of cattle across states in the region and urged the president to address Nigerians on the state of the nation. The governors also called for the restructuring of the country to address increasing agitations in different parts of the nation, while restating their commitment to the unity of the country. The Nigerian Senate delegation visits military hospital to empathize with the wounded in action, WIAs. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, led a delegation of the Senate to a military hospital in Kaduna to show empathy for the wounded in action, who were brought there from the various theaters of operations. The delegation visited 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital, where the senators went around the wards to see officers and soldiers on admission with various degrees of injuries. The visit was part of the activities to commemorate the second anniversary of the 9th Senate. The delegation to the military hospital was received on arrival by the GOC 1 Division, Major General Danjuma Alikefi, and the acting medical director of the hospital, Colonel Stephen Onochukwu.
The solidarity visit is aimed at promoting enhanced welfare and the well-being of the sick and injured officers and men of the Nigerian military. Is reassuring and would act as a moral booster to the fighting troops at the front line. The efforts of the armed forces of Nigeria to confront the security challenges of the country has witnessed tremendous improvement in recent years. The Chief of Army Staff vision, I quote, a professional Nigerian army ready to accomplish assigned mission within a joint environment in defense of Nigeria finds full expression care of the sick and wounded personnel in this hospital. The varying degrees of injuries has been managed professionally to the satisfaction of the client.
Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai later joined the delegation at the hospital and kept their company all through the visit. Earlier, while responding to a briefing shortly on arrival by the acting medical director, the Senate President said the visit was meant to be symbolic for visiting all the other military hospitals across the country. Lawan, on behalf of the Senate, announced a donation of 10 million naira to assist the hospital.
Our expectations as citizens are very high that this country is defended by our armed forces, and therefore we have to give the armed forces what they require. We may not be able to give everything because we don't have enough, but we must, as a country, put in more resources because everything rests on peace and security. Talk about economy, talk about anything. You must provide security first. My distinguished colleagues, the distinguished senator, all the 109 of us have made a token donation, which is only a symbol, and don't look at the amount, for this hospital to also utilize. And we have come here with the 10 million naira for.
It's still the 1 p.m. news on Splash 105.5 FM. Still ahead, Beijing tells NATO to stop hyping up China threat. 5,000 to be allowed at Wembley for Euro 2020 knockout stages. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories, so please stay with us.
Iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná a máa fúnni ní ìmọ́lẹ̀ a sì máa mú ìdẹ̀rùn wá láti wá dènà ìjàmbá iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná. Ojúlówó wáyà tàbí kébù ló yẹ ká fi fa iná nínú ilé, lọ́fíìsì àti nínú ìlú. Purechem wires and cables ní àwọn ilé iṣẹ́ mọ̀nàmọ́ná àti àwọn agbaṣẹ́ṣe yàn láàyò. Ojúlówó ni, kì í bó lára, kò kì í jóná àbáàdì, kì í kán sínú, ó sì fi ni lọ́kàn balẹ̀. Ìdí nìyí tí Standard Organization of Nigeria fi fòǹtẹ̀tẹ̀ tí Nigeria Electrical Contractors náà fi dìbò fún. Bí copper cable ṣe wà ní aluminium cable ń bẹ nípele lówó tí kò gún pa. Purechem wires and cables tó jẹ́ ọ̀kan lára àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Kaman ló ṣe ojúlówó wires and cable jáde. Olú iléeṣẹ́ Pure Wires and Cables Limited wà ní Afrin's Compound, Fort Gate, number 122/132, Oṣòdì Apapa Expressway, Ìyànà Ìsọlọ̀ bus stop, Lagos. Ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn ní 080-803-03257. Pure Wires and Cables. Ìrọ̀rùn fi iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná.
This is a message to fish farmers and processors. The Nigerian Stored Products Research Institute, NISPRI, has developed fish smoking kilns. These kilns can process large quantities of fish hygienically, quickly, and in a conducive environment. NISPRI's fish smoking kilns can be powered by charcoal, gas, or electricity. They eliminate the hard labor that is associated with using traditional fish smoking kilns. The fish comes out evenly dried in an attractive golden brown color and is of much improved quality. It is widely acceptable even in international markets. For further information on NISPRI smoking kilns, visit our website on www.nsbri.gov.ng or any of our offices across the country. NISPRI, improving food storage for a happier nation.
If you want big breaks, nothing's gonna stop you now. As long as you're insured with Great Nigeria Insurance PLC, your greatness is now. Conquer fear from losses or any form of hindrance from achieving your greatness. With a wealth of experience in insurance and financial matters, an array of life and general insurance products, motor insurance, fire and special perils, burglary, goods in transit, marine, and a lot more. For further information, please call 2341-342-9161 or send an email to info@greatnigeriaplc.com. Great Nigeria Insurance PLC, for assured commitment.
LifeMate Furniture is celebrating her 15th anniversary with 50% discount on all products, 20% discount on Royal products. This starts from June 10th to July 3rd with all the LifeMate Furniture participating showrooms and all directly operated stores. For every 200,000 naira spent, you get a raffle ticket.
Winners will get a MacBook Pro, iPhone 12 Pro, television, and a toaster.
Call 081-2000-6000 to know more about the 15th anniversary. LifeMate Furniture, your life made forever. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the news on Splash 105.5 FM. Now turning to the foreign scene. China has accused NATO of slandering its peaceful development after alliance leaders warned about systemic challenges coming from Beijing. NATO said China's actions, including expanding its nuclear arsenal, threatened rules-based international order. It was the first time NATO has placed China at the center of its agenda. In its response, China said its defense policy was defensive in nature and urged NATO to devote more of its energy to promoting dialogue. It added that NATO should view China's development in a rational manner and stop taking China's legitimate interests and rights as an excuse to manipulate bloc politics, create confrontation, and fuel geopolitical competition. The UK Prime Minister is determined that the remaining coronavirus restrictions in England will be lifted on 19th July. Boris Johnson confirmed that measures would remain in place until then because of the rapid spread of the Delta variant. However, some Conservative Member of Parliament are concerned they could remain for longer. Scientists advising the government had warned of a significant resurgence in people needing hospital treatment for COVID-19 if stage 4 of easing the lockdown went ahead as planned on 21st June. The Prime Minister said a 4-week delay would allow more people to get vaccinated. Senegalese President Macky Sall has called for urgent action after at least 8 people died off the beaches in the capital, Dakar. He said in a statement on Twitter that the death of young people by drowning on the beaches of Malika is intolerable. 7 bodies were recovered on the beach on Sunday and 1 was washed up on shore on Monday. The president on Monday offered his condolences to the grieving families of the deceased and those who were still missing. He called for urgent measures by authorities to provide better security and for parents to be more vigilant on the beaches. Finally, in sports, Wimbledon's men's and women's finals will be played in front of full capacity crowds, the first UK outdoor sporting events to do so since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. The tournament, starting on 28th June, will begin with 50% ground capacity. That will then rise throughout the tournament before the two finals on the 15,000 capacity centre court. Wembley will also be able to host matches at 50% capacity, around 45,000, for the knockout stages of Euro 2020. Discussions are ongoing with British Grand Prix bosses about holding the event, scheduled for 18th July at Silverstone with extra fans. Now, Karim Benzema and Antoine Griezmann are both fit for France's Euro 2020 opener with Germany in Munich on Tuesday. The pair emerged from Le Bleu final friendly win over Bulgaria last Tuesday with injuries, a dead leg for Benzema and a calf issue for Griezmann. Germany midfielder Leon Goretzka will miss the game as he continues to recover from a leg injury. Ike Gundogan and Toni Kroos played in the centre of the midfield in the 7-1 friendly win over Latvia on 7th June. Just before we go, a recap of the headlines. PDP governors have demanded decentralization of security operations to tackle threat. Elder statesman Edwin Clark has called for national dialogue over insecurity. Beijing has told NATO to stop hyping up China threat. 45,000 to be allowed at Wembley for Euro 2020 knockout stages. For more details on the news, visit our website on www.splashfm1055.com. Now, you can download the Splash FM mobile app on iOS, BlackBerry World and Google Play Store to listen live, get news updates, opinion poll, and also report an event live to us through the iReport feature. To download, simply go to any of the stores mentioned and search for Splash FM 105.5, then click to download. We have now come to the end of the news on Splash 105.5 FM, the integrity station, and the best radio station in the southwest of the country. The news editor is Tunde Olawowo, assisted by Abidemi Kajobola. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.
Quick, Charger 240.
Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the integrity station. We educate, that's why we are respected. We inform, that's why we are loved.